If you were a kid during the 90s or had acute awareness of the video game market, you'd have probably heard of shoddy unlicensed games. The crappy knockoffs, the mock-ups that try to slip onto your console under the guise of a professionally made one. If ROM hacks were the homebrew made by wildly experimental fans, then unlicensed video games were the cheap, tangy orange juice you'd find abandoned in an alleyway. In Croydon. Before 3D models became more widely used in the late 90s, commonly you'd see knockoff games attempt to utilise sprite swaps or entire visual changes, often including or pasted over licensed brands that you wouldn't ordinarily find doing things like these.
Why am I doing like this twerkathon?
Bootlegs were a cornerstone of video games during the mid-90s, for better or worse, and their production in the shadows continue even to the modern day, though I more often see past games being brought up for their absurd, juvenile, and unusual qualities. Yes, I've seen those videos too.
Oh my god!
While typically made for the purpose of a quick penny, oftentimes open defiance towards the manufacturers or publisher being copied is the motivation. Nintendo, for instance, were, and to a degree still are, extremely protective of their IPs and software, so putting Mario in settings unapproved by them was like the biggest middle finger one could possibly muster. So, what the bloody hell is this all about? From across the seas to Taiwan and mainland Asia, Hummer Team would put together a version of Mario that would mix the setting and the platform he was famous on, and merge him with the fast-running gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog. Passed around as a standalone product, or included in unlicensed Famicom multi-cartridges, you knew you were in for an interesting time once you see this on the cover. Honestly, kudos to the artist who attempted merging Mario into the iconic JP Sonic typography. I'm Somari, Somari the Adventure. While not the most polished of their admittedly decent unlicensed ports, by and large it was the most popular and well known in their catalogue, even getting addendums with slightly altered title screens and names, though I hear that was a very common practice in trying to mislead others into essentially buying the same product, but like starting on the second or third level instead. But hey, at least Sonic's here. Somari was so widespread that this pirated game would even spawn hacks from it that, for the most part, were just graphics overhauls, from the Hummer to Family Kid to the admittedly impressive Doraemon, all built with original or stolen assets. But as much as I'd enjoy going down that rabbit hole, this I'm not going too deep into for this video. It's just going to be the bug-ridden mess well known for its obvious novelty value, the bizarre and glitchy crossover that nobody asked for, the original Somari for the Nintendo Famicom. So before we begin, be sure to like, comment and subscribe if you'd like me talking about weird shit. Golly, it doesn't feel right downloading Somari. What if it like implodes my computer? Feels like I'm gonna regret this. The title screen seems fine. It resembles 8-bit Sonic with its aesthetic, just a little more rough around the edges, which is understandable considering it wasn't like a big publisher who made this. Mario, get changed. You're a little late for the Olympics. What alien world am I on? Okay, so this is Green Hill Zone. Seems typical enough, wiggly flower stems notwithstanding. And Somari's proportions make him look like he's been put through a vigorous workout. Controls are familiar too. The spin attack and spin jump are here, where Somari reluctantly conforms to the Sonic gameplay. And he can even use the spin dash in this knockoff. That's something I was not expecting from these guys. Remember, 8-bit Sonic back in the day initially lacked this mechanic, so the fact that they were able to program this here is promising. Maybe this game is actually good. Feels like I'm gonna regret this. Truth be told, while I admire how closely they stuck with the original Mega Drive game, it certainly doesn't have the same level of polish. Because of the small screen size, mixed with how quickly you run at full speed, enemies appearing right in front of you with their damaging projectiles already unfurled, enemies out of view still function in your peripheral view even if they haven't loaded in yet, and that includes buzz bombers sniping you with their bullets, And the stage music, while it starts out fine, it always settles on like a 14-second loop, presumably due to hardware limitations. And that's not all! You can't spin attack or roll into item boxes, water slows you down even more than usual, and strangely keeps your momentum so that you jerk forward the moment you reach the surface, or that could just happen underwater too. What was that? There's always something around every corner that reminds you just how wrong this game feels. Even loop-de-loops are wonkily programmed so that you'll miss one ring every single time. Uh-oh, man, that ring must be feeling pretty lonely. Somari, what are you doing? Also, the skidding to a halt sound effect sounds like that cow from Dynamite Heady. Perhaps I'm the weird one. The way Somari controls is very odd in that it takes an extra second to walk at a decent speed, and that will affect the arc of your jump and leads to unfair consequences. Basically, if you're walking and then jump, the motion is just fine, but if you jump too soon after standing still, it's as if the game doesn't want you to go too far, and it boggles my mind that it's like this. It makes platforming segments a living hell, if it wasn't already such with its poorly designed levels. Okay, we take those. Following the initial surprise over this peculiar reshaping of Sonic's world, glitches aside, I soon got into the swing of things, or at least as much as I can in this realm where the world jarringly unravels before you like this. I'm serious, this is trippy as heck. It keeps making me think there's an obstacle or enemy ahead, but it's just a ghost of an object. Just below Sonic's usual top speed, Somari's physics are just jank enough to make you second guess yourself every waking moment, and the level design, while often slightly branching out from the norm, was not built around this inconsistent speed. It's hard enough holding on to more than 50 rings because there's always something that will just haphazardly collide with you. Every level also reuses entire sections repeatedly across the different acts, which I grew very weary towards. Monitors are also the only place to find extra lives, because somehow the spin dash feature was easier to replicate than it is to replicate getting 100 pickups on Mario's home console. But then again, I'm no designer. Like Sonic 2 8-bit, checkpoints flew north for the winter, and thus, without them, every level is a grueling marathon, and boss fights with Dr. Robotnik at the end of every zone are comparatively easier than the arduous slog you wade through to reach them. Whoa, Eggman, you gotta check your balls. Getting over 50 rings seems to let you into the special stage copied right out of Sonic 1 8-bit's playbook. Nothing to do here except collect rings for your score, and even that is obsolete because there's no obtainable continues to speak of. And no Chaos Emeralds either, just decorative ones that look like Super Emeralds. And wait a minute, oh whoa, Red Star rings from Sonic Colors. Okay, this has to be the biggest coincidence this franchise has ever seen. This is a pirated game like released decades before that game, and their design is like almost exactly the same as in here. Did you know Somari is also the Italian word for donkeys? Just floating that out there. The rest of the game is exactly how you would think it is. They carried over every zone from Sonic 1 and even the distinct enemies within. Sans, motorbugs, and rollers. Don't expect the levels to get any easier though, I think the team put less and less effort as the game continued. While not unfairly crowded with enemies, Marble Zone has just as poor enemy placement, and its acts can go on longer than the loading screens from Sonic 06. Like, I know this layout, the goalpost should be here, so why did they make these acts twice as long? Spring Yard Zone, or Spring Yand in some versions, is no better, though I'd say it's a little more stable. The only annoying section is this sodding tunnel where you're stuck between spike balls and crab meats. Springs and bumpers also have the same colour palette as the background, even though they're physical objects and the off-coloured flashing decorations are not. Labyrinth Zone. Honestly, this is the easiest zone in the game. You're gonna drown a lot, but this is the only stage with no Buzz Bomber enemies, so it's safer by default. I do kind of get a kick out of the music too. The opening beat is like an awkward yet hip remix of the original tune. Whoa dude, check it out! Literal air bubbles. Starlight Zone looks like it was constructed while the level designers were busy getting high. Seriously, Act 3 is so meandering, and the boss at the end is a right bugger too. There's no seesaws in this game, so it's doubly difficult dodging his bullets to direct Somari into this menacing madman's mobile. Why do I write scripts like this? Scrap Brain Zone was cut for some reason, so after that it's only Final Zone. And again, I admired that they programmed this on an inferior console, but should they really have tried with controls like these? And the ending. After enduring this crazy-ass journey, Dr. Robotnik flees in his Eggmobile, accidentally hitting the die button, or in my case, Somari gets stuck on a wall until the game ended. And after that, it just cuts to the bad ending screen with the big bad quoting Terminator. That's a nice slinky you got there. I hope it and you catch fire. Somari is pretty crusty, and I wouldn't recommend playing even if your life depended on it. At the very least, do not touch this version. Yeah, fans ran with this too. Somari 3D Blast 5, despite the name, is a full-scale recreation of the pirated game, but with better controls and frame rates, fixes to the enemy AI, and has some additional features such as playing as Sonic or the Hummer. It's probably the best version of this copied game you could play, so go nuts, you retro fanatics out there. Personally, I'd rather stick with Mushroom Kingdom Fusion, even if their development has been in a perpetual state of entropy. I hope you enjoyed this joke video. It's mainly to tide over as I work on the bigger, more important sort, but here's hoping this at least helped enlighten those who did not know Somari existed, or wondered what it's like playing the game. Thank you ever so much for watching, if indeed you still are, and I'll see you in the next video.
Hello, little stylus.
Hello, Mario.